Is Europe on the brink of collapse? Are its societies crumbling under the weight of immigration and economic strain? Today, we dive deep into the heart of these pressing questions. Is Europe really dying? Once a beacon of wealth and technological prowess, Europe's status is now under scrutiny. How did this transformation occur? And what does it mean for the future? Join us as we unravel the complexities behind Europe's evolving landscape. Today, Europe is a beacon of wealth and technological advancement, a transformation shaped over centuries. But how did Europe achieve this status? Much of it traces back to a long history of colonial exploitation. European powers accumulated immense wealth by extracting resources from their colonies, which had a lasting impact on the continent's infrastructure and institutions. Consider the British Museum, home to numerous priceless Indian artifacts, often seen as symbols of historic plunder. The colonial era played a significant role in Europe's development. Resources and wealth extracted from colonies were reinvested in Europe, leading to robust public systems, advanced education, and extensive infrastructure. This historical boost gave Europe an edge over many former colonies. Immigration patterns throughout history also shaped Europe. Before the Crusades, parts of Europe like Spain were under Muslim rule, creating a melting pot of cultures and knowledge. This cultural blend significantly contributed to Europe's development, with influences still visible today in European culture and architecture. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, European empires, such as the British, French, and Spanish, expanded their territories across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. They exploited natural resources and labor, fueling the Industrial Revolution and economic growth in Europe. The transatlantic slave trade also played a crucial role in this economic prosperity, although it created deep socio-economic disparities. Modern Europe still bears the marks of its colonial past, evident in its museums and cultural institutions. The British Museum's collection of colonial artifacts often sparks debates about cultural heritage and repatriation. Understanding this history is essential to grasp the complexities of Europe's current wealth and societal structures. For instance, did you know that Europe's current GDP heavily reflects its colonial history? The wealth generated during colonial times significantly contributes to today's economic status. Cities like London and Paris thrived as they became central hubs for trade and administration during the colonial period. However, we must also ask how this historical advantage impacts Europe today. Does it create a sense of responsibility to help address the inequalities it helped create? These questions are vital as we explore Europe's position in the modern world. As we delve deeper, we'll see how history intertwines with the current socio-economic fabric of Europe, shaping its future direction. Immigration is a complex issue that touches both the heart and the wallet. When people escape war and hardship, our natural response is to help. But then comes the practical question: are taxpayers prepared to bear the cost? In many European countries, social benefits are extensive. Unemployed individuals receive financial aid, housing, and other support. But where does this money come from? It's funded by taxpayers. Now imagine a significant influx of immigrants who initially aren't contributing economically. This situation can put pressure on these support systems. For instance, in Germany, the government spent approximately €23 billion in refugee-related expenses in 2020 alone. Suppose more people start relying on these benefits without contributing back. In that case, taxpayers might begin to ask, what's happening with our money? This scenario creates a dilemma. On one hand, there's a moral duty to help those in need. On the other, there are practical concerns about the sustainability of such support. Balancing these two aspects is challenging and requires nuanced policymaking. The integration process for newcomers can be slow and fraught with challenges. Language barriers, employment hurdles, and cultural differences can impede quick assimilation. Until immigrants are fully integrated and can contribute to the economy, the financial burden on the host country remains high. Consider Sweden, where immigrants make up about 19% of the population. While many have successfully integrated, the government also faces significant challenges in terms of unemployment and social cohesion. Ultimately, the goal is to find equilibrium. We need to support those fleeing crisis, while ensuring that the economic impact on society is manageable. So what's the best approach? Should we prioritize humanitarian aid at the potential cost of economic strain? Or should we be more cautious, ensuring that our support systems remain sustainable? These are questions that policymakers and all of us must grapple with. Europe's cultural landscape is experiencing significant shifts, and not all societies adapt simultaneously. Historically, many European countries were largely homogeneous, primarily white populations. However, this is changing, especially in cosmopolitan cities like London, which are now vibrant melting pots of various ethnicities. For some long-time residents in certain European regions, this shift can be unsettling, often leading to what is termed xenophobia. Take France, for example. Approximately 10% of its population is Muslim, many of whom are descendants of immigrants from Algeria, a former French colony. These immigrants initially came because they fought alongside the French during the Algerian War. Today, their second and third generations often feel alienated and face hostility, struggling to integrate into French society fully. An Arab cab driver in France once mentioned that there is minimal interaction between Arabs and white French people, highlighting a significant social divide. Integration issues have multiple layers. Some immigrants arrived through legal channels, yet their children and grandchildren still feel marginalized. Others are refugees fleeing wars, often conflicts in which Western countries have played a role. For instance, the ongoing instability in Afghanistan is linked to significant foreign interventions, including bombings. These displaced individuals often see Europe as their best refuge. Interestingly, there is a notable difference in how various groups of immigrants are received. Ukrainian refugees, who often have similar physical features to native Europeans, tend to be welcomed more warmly than Arab or African refugees. This disparity in reception underscores underlying biases and racial prejudices. The reality of these issues are complex. On one hand, there is a moral imperative to provide refuge and integrate new populations. On the other hand, there is the challenge of addressing the fears and prejudices of the native population. According to data from Pew Research Center, Europe's Muslim population could reach 14% by 2050, which may heighten tensions if integration issues are not effectively addressed. Europe faces multifaceted challenges with immigration, involving economic, social, and cultural aspects. Germany, once the powerhouse of Europe, now grapples with economic sluggishness. The term donorflation encapsulates this issue, as even the price of popular doner kebabs has surged. Opposition parties have proposed a €4 million subsidy to make these kebabs affordable, highlighting the broader inflation problem and slow growth in an aging society. Germany's future workforce is at risk. With an aging population, the country needs immigrants to sustain its economic engine. Ideally, they seek individuals who can immediately contribute to the economy. But this is not always feasible. The historical context also demands a more inclusive approach. In 2021, Germany received over 190,000 asylum applications, a significant number, reflecting its role as a major destination for migrants. Italy, for instance, has tried to curb immigration by making deals with Tunisia to block African migrants. The UK has a similar agreement with Rwanda regarding the relocation of migrants. Despite these efforts, people continue to risk their lives on dangerous journeys to Europe, often resulting in tragic losses at sea. The Mediterranean remains a difficult route, with over 1,200 deaths reported in 2021 alone. According to European Union statistics, by 2050, Europe could face a labor shortage of over 50 million workers if current demographic trends continue. This shortage makes immigration essential for economic stability. However, the integration process remains a significant hurdle. Many immigrants face barriers such as language difficulties, limited job opportunities, and cultural differences that hinder their ability to contribute fully to society. Consider Sweden, where the population is approximately 19% foreign-born. While the country has made efforts to integrate newcomers through language and employment programs, challenges persist. The reception of immigrants varies significantly across Europe. Ukrainian refugees, who often resemble native Europeans, tend to be welcomed more warmly than those from Arab or African countries. This disparity in reception underscores underlying biases and racial prejudices. For example, a 2020 study found that over 40% of Europeans held unfavorable views of Muslims, revealing deep-seated prejudices that complicate integration efforts. Historically, Europe was not always a homogeneous region. Before the Crusade, parts of Europe such as Spain were under Muslim rule, leading to significant cultural and intellectual exchange. Europe's wealth is deeply rooted in its colonial past. By exploiting other regions, European nations amassed immense wealth, developing robust infrastructure and institutions. However, this legacy also means Europe faces the responsibility of accommodating people from the regions it once exploited. Take Iran's oil reserves, for instance. Western oil companies controlled these reserves for a long time, extracting enormous profits while leaving behind economic and political turmoil. The current challenges these regions face are not just their problems, they are a shared legacy of exploitation. As a result, Europe has a moral obligation to address the repercussions of its historical actions. The term donorflation captures the situation, as even the price of doner kebabs has surged. Opposition parties have proposed a €4 million subsidy to make these kebabs affordable, highlighting the broader issue of inflation and slow growth in an aging society. Germany's aging population means it needs immigrants to sustain its economic engine. While the ideal scenario involves immigrants who can immediately contribute to the economy, this is not always feasible. In 2021, Germany received over 190,000 asylum applications, reflecting its role as a major destination for migrants. Italy has tried to curb immigration by making deals with Tunisia to block African migrants. Similarly, the UK has an agreement with Rwanda to relocate migrants. Despite these efforts, people continue to risk their lives on dangerous journeys to Europe, often resulting in tragic losses at sea. The Mediterranean remains a difficult route, with over 1,200 deaths reported in 2021 alone. This shortage makes immigration essential for economic stability. However, the integration process remains a significant hurdle. What do you think? Is Europe truly dying? Or is it simply evolving? Share your thoughts in comments below. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us bring more in-depth analysis on critical topics, and I'll see you next time.